I set my alarm for earlier than normal, leaving the pilot hostel before anyone wakes up. I grab a strong cup of coffee on the run and something that was probably meant to be a muffin. Going through the pre-flight checklist, I look over my ship. As I glance into the engine bay, I realize how little I know about this thing. I pull up a hollow diagram and try to identify what is what. The tangled and directional currents look beautiful, but a total mystery to me. Done with the physical inspection, I sit down in the pilot seat and start running the system diagnostics. Watching the various systems scroll by, I get back a warning or two, but nothing that seems new. I'm just excited to get back out there. I have plotted a very ambitious route today. Ping, ping, ping! A request pops up over my comms. I pull it up and see Lioness's face and instantly know something's wrong. Maeve. Her voice is quiet. I need your help. Her eyes seem puffy and her normally buoyant hair is tightly tied down with a scarf. She seems to be in a security hub at a station, maybe? I can see uniformed people walking around behind her. Of course, I answer quickly. What do you need? Shrimp and the family's Type 9 have disappeared. What? I said, surprised, thinking about the monolithic size of their family's transport. How could that just disappear? He said he's found a good trade route, a quick stocking request for a carrier headed out on an expedition? She started to tell me rapidly. He even dropped the shields to get the order in faster. I told him not to be stupid, but he reassured me that it wasn't dangerous. I shivered. Running shieldless was not something I'd even do in my little Sidewinder. Where was he last seen? She seemed to be scanning information, then said hesitantly, near system MOAI-1? Just keep an eye out for signal sources, distress calls. I'm here at the security office trying to get someone to care enough to send out a search and rescue team. She glared off camera. Okay, let me know if you hear anything, I said, just as Lioness ended the call. Okay, so my mind started going through the possibilities. Comm failure, pirate attack, or maybe he's just out of comms range. I strap in, switch the route, and start towards the last known location of my friend's brother. Jumping quickly from system to system, I scan through the planetary bodies and the signal sources. I am having to come to grips with how big space really is. Each system I'm in, I keep thinking, what if he's here or floating without power, and I don't see a signal and I just passed him by? So my nerves were already frayed when the first interdiction alert popped. I actually drop my stick as the ship and the controls buck with the interdiction. Getting a hold again, I am straining to get the ship to fight to try and center to the escape vector. Oh no, I mutter, seeing that I'm losing the interdiction. Drats! Crack! There's a loud snap as I'm dumped out of Super Cruise, my ship spinning wildly around, frantically trying to target the ship who had attacked me in a panic. I forgot to even deploy my hard points. It is an Alliance chieftain. Would a pirate use an Alliance ship? My worry turns to confusion as I read the incoming message. Tiny and Mighty, I am with the Alliance Defense Force, and I have been dispatched to find you. Is this about shrimp? I ask, voice breaking a little, hands tight on the controls. There was a pause, and then the formal voice continued. We're looking for a known associate of yours, DocStarbux. It's urgent you tell us where he is. Keegan? I had just seen him the day before. I decide to go with the truth. I don't know where he is, I say, feeling both terrified and kind of angry with these people. Couldn't they have just asked over the local comms? The ship circles me, scanning my ship for passengers. If he contacts you, tell him the Alliance force will give him safe harbor. The chieftain boosts past me and jumps back out. Rude! I wave a fist at the engine trail left behind. What the heck? Jumping to the next system, I have to take a minute as my ship scoops fuel from the star. I am visibly shaking with the adrenaline. Taking a quick drink out of my water pouch, I think through my options. Should I send a message to Keegan? What if they're tracking it? Night Ranger? I send out a ping for the mysterious older man who's winged up with me on occasion. I think Keegan's in trouble. Not surprising, came the terse reply. Accept my wing request, he says, and I see the notification pop up. Accepting it and seeing his name in the wing makes me feel a little bit better that I'm not completely alone. He is a few systems away, but I can see from the gal map that he's already jumping towards me. I'm headed towards MOAI-1 at the moment, looking for a friend who's gone missing, I explain. Got it. Night Ranger adjusts course. 2 jumps later, I am refueling again, and bam! Another interdiction! I am so glad I am buckled into my seat because I almost jumped up. It scared me so badly. I fight to escape, but the tunnel goes straight into the star. Crack! I drop out inches away from the rolling, molten hot surface of the star. Solar flares arc in front of me, and the ship starts to blare warning signals at me. Steam is rising around me, and I fight to find the escape vector. Boosting, rolling, and flailing around as messages of different system failures start popping up. Finally, I get the ship lined up and jump, which just seems to overheat the ship more. I feel the air getting hot, and I try and hold my breath. I pop out into Super Cruise, lights flashing, warnings blaring, then finally the temperature gauge stops rising. What the freaking heck? 2 interdictions in one day? Don't people know how to use their comms? I've got to repair, I message Night Ranger, beelining it for the nearest station I can see. I frantically check my modules, their integrity ranging from 80% down to 20%. This isn't good. This is where I probably should have called it a day. But I wasn't going to give up on Shrimp. His warm smile and how sweet he had been to me on my first day just strengthened my resolve. As I carefully sat down at the outpost, the look on the mechanic's face told me how close I had been to disaster. I waited as they repaired and replaced the singed parts. Not wanting to chance losing my cartographic data, I sold what I had collected so far. Restocked and repaired, I made the next jump. One more to go before the system Lioness said Shrimp was last seen in. So far, I'd only seen degraded signal sources. Searching for a distress beacon was a lot harder than the movies made it look. I had just finished scanning MOAI-1. Noting an interesting gas giant, I decided to take a detour to map it. Maybe being further from the star, I'd pick up Shrimp's signal? Crack! I got locked into another interdiction! What the heck? Do I have a sign on my back saying, "Interdict me, please"? Not this time, buddy! I remembered my training, rolling and keeping on target. I almost got out, but at the last second they won. Spinning around to face the ship, I deployed my hardpoints. Then I made a very surprised I was face to face with an enormous ship. It was the size of a station. The dark, menacing nose of the ship pointed straight at me. A harsh voice blasted out of the speakers. "We're looking for Keegan. You'll tell us where he is." They deployed their hardpoints. "You have 10 seconds to comply, or we'll take the information from your black box." "You can try," I said, boosting at them with my beam laser firing. If I was gonna die, I might as well fight back. Giant lasers raked across my shields. I could see them dissolving. I was trying to find a blind spot on the ship. I knew from stories a Sidewinder could outmaneuver a big ship like this, but I have no idea how that's possible. I frantically adjust power to my shields, my weapons stutter. coming in for another pass, hoping to get out of their line of fire. No way can I take another hit from their lasers. Bam! My shields fall, and I start watching my hull melting around me. Sparks are flying from the damaged systems, and I boost frantically to try and avoid their weapons. I hadn't even put a dent in their first ring of shields. Then, out of nowhere, a beautiful cloud of corkscrewing missiles enveloped the Corvette. A second barrage comes in, hot on the tail of the first. I stop dead in my tracks, waiting for the final moments for my canopy to blow out and the escape pod to jettison. Then, from the smoke emerged an enormous orange Type 10 Defender. Jolting me out of my momentary shock, I put full pips into weapons and charged the Corvette, beam and multi-cannon going full. The Corvette's huge lasers cut lines through the Type 10's shields. The two ships were locked into an orbit around each other, trying to get the other one to make a mistake. I zoomed by, unleashing everything I could. Narrowly missing the Type 10 in the process, I flipped around. The smoke was so thick it was hard to make the ships out. Engine trails mixed with missile trails. Out of it loomed the silhouette of the two giant warships. For a minute, it seemed like the Type 10 was going to be in trouble. The Corvette had caught it as it was turning around to face them after a joust. Beam lasers superheating the metal of the ship in long scratches. I changed my tactic and went for the bridge of the Corvette, trying to distract them. Dive bombing directly towards the observation deck, I could almost see the wide-eyed surprise of the navigation personnel as I blocked their view for a few seconds. It gave the Type 10 just enough time to turn around and unleash another dozen missiles. Charging towards each other, the two behemoths clashed, amid explosions and debris, both ships blasting into each other's hulls. The Corvette seemed to decide they weren't going to get what they had wanted from me. They turned and started to run, and we gave chase. Boosting my little ship hard as I tried to catch up, but the massive Federal ship disappeared into the cloud of smoke left from the last missile shot. I sat there stunned, looking at the high wake signal floating in space where that ship had been. They had come to kill me. "That's right, you better run!" I shouted, whooping in triumph before the shadow of the Type 10 fell across my ship. I tried to back away quickly, almost boosting and jumping right then and there. "Don't be afraid," a voice said over the local channel. "I'm here to protect you. I am with the Alliance and have been sent to find Keegan." "How do I know you won't try and kill me for his location as well?" I said angrily, pulling up close to his cockpit to look the pilot in the face. "If I'd wanted to kill you, you'd be dead," he said simply. "If you hear from Keegan, tell him we need the information he stole. We will protect him from the Federation." "Fine," I said, then realized I was being rude to a ship that was many times bigger than I was. Looking at the pilot, dwarfed by his huge ship, I said, "Thank you for saving my life and my ship." "Of course," he replied. "You better get out of here before he brings reinforcements." I didn't need any more prompting. Turning around, I boosted until I broke the mass lock, jumping into the first system on my list. All I wanted to do was find a safe port to set down, get my ship repaired, and regroup.